Hey everybody, I'm Amber.
And I'm Maddie.
And we're
Witches Talking Tarot.
And today we are going to talk about one of Amber's favorite childhood stories that I learned about, and it's called The Green Children of Woolpit. If anybody is familiar with this, awesome. It's about green kids from the 1100s. Very excited to do this story. I made Maddie read all about it because I was like, this would be fun.
Right, it was very interesting. I'm very excited to talk about it.
Very interesting. So, do you want to tell the story or you want me to tell the story?
Well, I guess if you want to, you can, or I can. I mean, it's up to you.
We can go back and forth.
So, basically, there were these green children that showed up out of nowhere. They
in Woolpit.
Right, they came out of the forest or something.
No, they were found in a wool pit, which wool pit is
wolf pit. Yes.
The town was known for its wolf pits, which are for trapping and.
Can you imagine wolves. Going looking for wolves and you see two fucking children?
Kids? I know.
They just fell in. What if they were the Fae? Oh my god. Sorry, we're not there yet. We're not there yet.
That's okay though. I mean, that's what, I'm down with however many rabbit holes this story takes us. But changelings. Oh my god. Because here's the thing. Okay, brief history on wolf pits. For anybody who doesn't know what a wolf pit is, I didn't, so I looked into it because I was like, I assume a wolf pit is a pit for wolves.
They walk over it and fall into it. That's what I assume. Is that wrong?
That is correct. No, it is a pit that is made that they can't get out of it once they're in it. So the sides are usually smooth or possibly even have wood or cement or some shit.
Like something from a scary movie.
In the 1100s, not gonna have cement, but
so people still use those, do they?
Probably. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know hunting laws. Corey could probably tell you whether or not they're legal. As far as whether or not people use them or not, people probably still do, whether they're legal or not, because people are people. Yeah. But what they either would just not be able to get out, or there would be sharpened stakes in the bottom.
Oh, Lord.
To kill the animal.
I'm sorry. I did not mean
I love that southern, scared southern belle thing.
Right.
Lordy. Have mercy. That was Uncle Jesse.
Maybe you could catch some, gators that way, maybe. Because
I wonder,
I want to say fuck alligators.
Have pretty good, you'd have to have pretty sharp sticks, I would think.
Right, because they're scaled. Yeah, they're scaled.
Gator hide's much tougher than a wolf hide.
Well, and could you even trap them that way in the first place, or could they climb out, dig their nails?
Right, yeah. But, I mean, I guess if they were impaled on stuff, if it was sharp enough sticks, it would have to be a far enough fall to...
Right, because they can't run very fast on land.
Right, exactly. They can run very fast on land. They can run very fast on land. Yes, they can.
My thought was tiger.
So you're aware.
Like a tiger. No, fuck alligators.
Because they don't teach you this anymore. They run fast.
You're supposed to serpentine.
You're supposed to zigzag because their tail, they can run fast in a straight line, but their tail's so heavy when they turn, it slows them down a lot. So if you zigzag in big zigzags so that they have to turn and follow you, it'll slow them down really fast. If you run in a straight line and a gator's running in a straight line behind you and it's a full-grown gator, they're probably going to catch you unless you were
I hate them.
I love gators. I don't want to cuddle up to one because they terrify me. They're my greatest fear, but I love them. Dichotomy of man.
I don't know. I like sharks, but gators, oh my god.
Well, see, water predators are my greatest fear. So I love sharks and I love gators, but they are also my greatest fear. But you can punch
a shark in the eye, or stick your fingers in the eye. Punch them in the gills, assuming you can, you're coherent enough. What the fuck can you do to an alligator? Nothing. Yes, fuck that shit.
I mean, if you could get a gator in the eye, I would imagine that would make it loosen its grip if you could get a thumb in its eye. Because, I imagine getting a thumb in a gator's eye is just as easy as getting a thumb in a shark's eye, or just as difficult.
Maybe harder because sharks are on the side.
Plus, you're probably going to be in deeper water with a shark than with a gator. A gator's trying to drag you into water from land, most likely.
I'm getting anxiety. Fuck alligators. Yeah. But when you say wolf pit, my first go-to is a tiger.
Yeah.
Or something that they would use to catch like a lion, or maybe not so much a bear, because I do believe a bear could probably climb out.
Fair enough.
But
like a large predator.
Yeah.
And I think they use them for like non-predatory animals as well. I specifically only read about the wolf pits because I was not interested in the other kinds of animal pits, because that's not in the story.
No, it's not. I know. I realized.
No, not you. No, I'm just saying, like, I don't know if they mentioned, like, what other animals were mentioned.
I think we're just getting off topic.
All I'm saying.
Like,
I'm just saying, like, they also use them for prey animals as well as large predators. But I can totally picture a tiger being caught or a lion being caught in these same kind of pits. And when we picture the fact that the pit might have spikes in it is when you really go, that hollow earth theory making some sense. But we'll get there. So these kids just show up in a wolf pit. And some villagers are just like, there are green children. That their clothes are funky.
Like, what did you take? Like, I could just see somebody, like, running back to the village. Help! There's, like, fucking green children! And they're like, did you eat the proper mushroom? The proper fucking, like...
Like, what kind of ritualistic tour are you taking today?
Yeah, like... and he's like, no, come on, we gotta go, I gotta see. And then somebody's just like, well, no, I'll look, but I don't think it's real. You know what I mean? And then they get there and they're just like...
Grandpa been drinking.
Yeah, right? Or it's like the village fucking idiot, right? And they're like, just don't believe it. And then he's just like, bro, come on. Or since it's the medieval time, maybe they were like, green children? I believe it. You know what I mean? Because they're like
yeah, this is the 1100s.
Right.
It's during
sounds
the
like
reign
witchcraft.
of King Stephen in England. So 1135 to 1154.
Right.
So like
I could see them easily believing it.
Yeah.
Maybe nowadays, not so much.
There was a pox on their house.
Right.
Like, they're green. There was a pox.
Right. It's like, help. So they run, they go, they get the kids, right?
Yeah.
And it's like,
they take them into the village. The kids, they don't speak English.
They look like normal kids, except for they're green.
And their clothes are weird. Like, it's notated everywhere that their clothing was not of anything that anybody there was familiar with. It describes it as being very strange. It doesn't describe the clothes in general, so we don't know what are strange about the clothes.
Like whether they're from like a different culture.
Right, exactly.
Or
like, is it that it is from a different culture or something we've literally never seen before? Or like the fabric itself is strange.
Or they're like wearing modern clothes.
Or they're wearing modern clothes.
Oh
We just talked about
it.
Yeah. This is a great story, guys.
I know.
So like some rich guy in the village, his name is Richard de Calne.
And he was very educated man.
Yeah, he was a very educated man, and he took them in because he was one of the wealthier citizens.
Right, and I imagine with him being an educated man, he's probably like, can I learn something from them, about them? You know, like the curiosity as well. Yeah,
I can see that because he was a well-traveled and, as you've stated, a well-educated man. So having that foresight to go, there's something to be learned from this strange occurrence. Like, we may not know the cause of it yet or ever. As history will show, but he wanted to learn something, and by having them in close proximity, that's the best way to learn if you're going to, right?
Right, exactly.
Also,
I wonder if everybody else was like, ew, don't touch me, like, stay away from me, and he was like one of the only guys that like was like, okay, I'll take him, because I imagine nobody would want to, like, touch them. They're green, right?
Right? And I mean, if leprosy is around, I would imagine in the 1100s leprosy existed.
Well, and also...
So, like, you just can't trust anything.
Oh, maybe there was a curse put on them, you know? Don't stay away from them. You know, so many people died because people were like, oh, don't go near them. You know what I mean? True. Or babies even. Ew, there's something wrong with them. You know, you could argue that maybe that's an evolutionary trait. Like, something's wrong with them, right, for protection. Like, they're green. Maybe they have a disease we don't know about.
We don't want it to spread to our household. Because I also, like, I know this is the shitty side of me, but I go, like, homeboy is, like, one of the wealthy people, and he's like, free labor.
Oh, God, I'm gonna do it again. I've started doing that at my house, but good God, good Lord, I didn't even think of that. I've started doing that, and so if I say good Lord a lot, that's because it's a thing now.
But so he takes them to his house, and like for days, these kids don't eat shit. They don't eat anything. And I mean, I don't mean they don't eat shit. They also don't eat shit, but they don't eat any of the food that's presented to them. Right. It's all like, strange, ew. And yeah, they're like, what the fuck? But then they're out in the field one day, and they see some broad beans, and they're like, chow the fuck down. Wow. And broad beans are also known as fava beans, so maybe they wanted them with a nice Chianti.
I don't know what they look like. What do they look like? They're green, obviously.
I've literally been waiting to make the fava bean joke.
Oh.
No, I love Hannibal.
Oh my God.
No, you're fine. No. I want everybody out there to know I am that big of a dork. I have been waiting to be like, maybe they wanted them with a nice Chianti. But fava beans, I don't know. Like,
I almost looked them up. I forgot to look them up.
Yeah, like they're little, the casing's green like a snow pea or, you know, a long
green bean, like a normal one.
Yeah, but the inside are these little white beans, and I feel like the shape was not the typical kidney bean shape. It's a slightly different shape for a bean. Slightly different. Not completely different. It's not like a triangle or some shit. It's just not like your traditional kidney bean or pinto bean appearance. From the picture that I saw on Wikipedia when I looked up what the fuck broad beans are, which is why I know they're also called fava with a B or fava with a V, and I was all like, Hannibal, because Hannibal Lecter
eats them.
Yeah. With a nice Chianti and somebody's, liver?
I don't know, but I love Hannibal.
I don't know.
I watched that show on Hulu, and it really...
I never got all the way through the show.
Really grossed me out. The first episode was when they found, like, mushrooms growing out of living people. He kept them alive. He had them hooked up to an IV.
I watched it when it came out.
He gave them medicine to put them in a coma, had them hooked up to an IV and a oxygen tank. Because the best mushrooms grow out of living creatures. I'm sorry, I apologize to the listeners if that was really loud. But I was like, what, bitch!
As a mushroom lover, my stomach just, did the grossest somersault.
They dug them up.
So,
they dug them up, and one guy was alive, and he was just like, help me. Bitch! Oh my God!
That makes me think of Seven. Have you ever seen the movie Seven?
Is it a cartoon?
No.
Okay, then no.
With Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman?
No. No, I haven't. I think I was thinking of 13.
No. Seven is it's about the 7 deadly sins.
Oh.
This guy, he's a serial killer, and he kills people based on the 7 deadly sins. And for Sloth, he has this, piece of shit dude that was, on parole or probation or something. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen the movie Seven. But he's got him, hooked up to all these, machines keeping him alive. But, the guy swallowed his own tongue years ago or some time ago. And, it's disgusting.
Is it scary?
And that's what... Yes.
Oh, God.
Yes. What's in the box? Have you ever seen
is that what that is?
Yes, that's from Seven. What's in the box?
Bryson loves that movie.
Oh,
loves it. I have not seen it. Okay.
Yeah.
How the fuck did we get on the topic of...
because mushrooms. I don't know how we got to mushrooms.
I know.
Broad beans.
Broad beans.
Yeah, we were talking about Hannibal Lecter.
Oh, okay. Yes, there we go.
Fava beans and a nice Chianti. And I said
that motherfucker is evil. I'm sorry, not to continue to talk about Hannibal Lecter, but dude, he had
Hannibal Lecter is so much worse than movie Hannibal Lecter.
He had
and maybe it's just because
dinner.
It's Anthony Hopkins versus that guy who, what's his name? His name is something.
I don't know, but he's scary looking too, in a good way. He looks. Is he German? Because he fucking looks German.
Yeah, his name. Yeah, I'm trying to think of his name. It's an interesting name, and it's
Oh, he had an amazing accent.
It's not Hans, but it's something that's reminiscent of Hans.
He has an amazing accent.
It's not Anders.
You know, he plays a good bad guy because he looks like a bad guy. I hate it when he has people over, and they're like, this is so good. What is this? And he's like, foie gras. First of all, that's not any better than human meat, in my opinion. Don't eat foie gras.
I think I'd eat human meat over foie gras.
It's bad for it's mean.
That's terrible.
I know.
I can't imagine doing that. Who figured that? Who was like, this is the best shit you'll ever taste first, You torture an animal.
Right. And then you eat its liver. Or is it kidney? Something like that.
I think it's their liver. They stuff it. I didn't want to go into detail for any of our
We were just talking about peanuts.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So,
anyway,
Hannibal Lecter eats people with fava beans, and these kids eat fava beans just on their own.
No seasoning or anything.
Yeah, no, it's just like raw. Like, they find them in the field, and eat the beans.
Well, I wonder if while they were out, I'm assuming in the woods, because that's probably where the pits were. You know, because that's, or maybe around,
right?
Like,
I mean, I think that comes in theory.
But I'm right.
Yeah.
So maybe they're out in the wilderness, wherever the fuck, and the only thing they recognize that won't kill them are the beans.
Fair enough. Because, like, Corey was pointing out a thing about, because I was making jokes about, because I was talking about, like, for Valentine's Day, you had mentioned chicken Kiev.
I was
like, I want to make chicken Kiev. And I was thinking about, like, what to make for dinner with it.
Beans.
And so I was like, no, potatoes.
Oh, right. That's what I read. Potatoes were the best.
Yeah.
Cut that shit over mashed potatoes.
Right? But I was looking up, like, what's a traditional Russian dinner with chicken Kiev. And then I thought, well, because, like, I'm betting that his DNA is going to say he has a large portion of German ancestry. So I was like, I'll look up German potato dishes. And one thing that I learned was, whereas we have a lot of potato dishes from the Germans didn't start using potatoes until, like, the 17th or 18th century.
Is that more of a Scottish thing, potatoes?
Well, potatoes are definitely Irish. They're definitely Russian.
Oh, Irish.
But Corey pointed out that in certain parts of the world, and I bet Scots eat a lot of potatoes too. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, well, there's the famine, the potato
Irish.
Famine. What, is that Ireland?
That is Ireland.
Okay.
Yeah. But I would imagine Scots planted their own tubers. But Corey pointed out there are a lot of parts of the world where culturally you don't eat tubers because they are poisonous in the plants that grow in the area of the world you live, specifically like in Germany and parts of northern of there. The German king at the time had to, like, force the peasant farmers to plant potatoes because they weren't poisonous, and they were very rich in nutrition, but very cheap and plentiful to grow.
The skin,
but, like, the people were against it at first, and Corey pointed out probably because they were used to them being poisonous. So when you say, like, this is something that they know they can eat, that makes perfect sense.
Right, like the green
depending
beans.
on where you come from, you're going to have certain things that you know are safe to eat, then everything else is a gamble.
Right, exactly. Because everything, it depends on the region.
And exactly. And you're going to eat what you know isn't a gamble, right, for the most part, if you can find it.
Right.
Yeah. So they eat the broad beans. They don't speak English. They have weird clothes. And then...
They're green.
And they're green. And then these Christians do what?
What Christians always do. We're going to convert them.
They baptize them.
Why? They probably couldn't even speak English, so they were just
they
like...
They didn't even know what they were doing. They're like...
They're probably like...
take a bath?
Well, or they're freaking the fuck out because some guy just randomly shoves their head underwater. They're like, oh, what the fuck? Which could explain how maybe somebody got something in their mouth.
Yeah, maybe.
You know?
Maybe. Yeah.
Or nose.
Right. The little boy dies after the baptism.
No, does it ever state how long in between them getting caught and then them getting baptized? Because it doesn't, you know.
Nothing gives, like, specific,
like, timelines. So, like,
it's just there. Other than the only thing that anything gave, like, timing on was they didn't eat any of the foods presented to them the first couple of days, and then when they were out in the wilderness with somebody and they saw the broad beans, they ate the broad beans. So that was a couple of days of being with the
and then eventually they ate normal food.
Right, eventually they ate normal food. They were weaned off of their broad beans, and their diet was changed for them by the people they were staying
And
with.
After their diet was changed, their skin...
Then is when they got baptized. Yes, after their diet was changed, their skin went to normal color
and they were baptized
and then they were baptized.
Rid them of the hex or whatever,
right.
you
and
know?
then the little boy died.
Now, I really, really think part of, like, because there's no explanation as to how the little boy died. None at all.
No, just after he was baptized, he died. So we're going to go into our own theories about that after we finish the story, right?
Right.
Because, like, that in and of itself is just kind of strange.
Right, that is so weird.
Because they'd already had their diet changed.
Right.
So, and I mean, it could have been a buildup of things, but I mean, it's just strange.
Well, and sickness was a thing back then as well.
It was, but his sister survived.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And she even learned to speak English.
And she got married and changed her name to Agnes.
Yes.
Which is not the best name.
Well, I'm going to bet that Richard de Calme probably named her Agnes. You know what I mean?
That is such a, like European name.
It is. It's totally like...
Like Hans, like you just said, Hans. Agnes is definitely a European name.
Yes, absolutely.
I went to school with a kid named Angus.
Love that name, but that's because of the movie Angus.
Oh.
It's so good. I love that movie.
Is it Scottish or Irish? I don't know.
I think it's a Scottish name.
Yeah, it is Scottish, yes.
I think so.
It's also the name of a cow.
Yeah. But
oh no, I can't get into that story.
Anyway, so for our story, once the little girl learned to speak English, she was able to tell a little bit about her and her brother, right? To the people that she...
Right. I totally forgot about this part of the story. Yes. So she says that they come from a land...
of St. Martin.
Which I feel like that was the start of a song. And I can't remember what song it was. Like classic rock, I come from the land down under.
We come from a land down under.
Okay, yeah.
That's meant at work. But I was also thinking, like, isn't Puff the Magic Dragon...
We come from a land down under. Is that the song? Okay.
Yeah, it is.
But literally...
Isn't Puff the Magic Dragon, like... Isn't the come from a land also part of that song?
Maybe that's just what people say.
Maybe.
So she says,
I can't think of Puff the Magic Dragon. I just got men at work.
So they come from a land where the sun doesn't set or rise. It's kind of like
twilight all the time.
All the time. Yeah.
But everything's green, right? Didn't she say? Did you read that as well? Because I read that.
I can't remember. You know, honestly, it was almost like a quote, direct quote. Not really. It was what was written down, and it was in Old English, and it confused the fuck out of me.
I wish I'd read that.
But she did the thing that I could make out. And when I say Old English, I mean 1100s, like not
and like their sentence,
not Regency, right?
Weird.
It was crazy. So she definitely said that they come from a land where the twilight, or where it's twilight all day. And then she said something about, like, I almost want to see it to show it to you, but, like, I won't do that. But, like, it was long. It was, like, 3 paragraphs, and it was weird. Let's just say it was weird. Like,
that's cool.
There was a...
I wonder if it's an excerpt out of one of the guys.
I think it is. I want to show it too, but I won't. I mean, because I will absolutely do that because it's bothering me. But because it's such old English.
Because like what I read said that she said there was no sun. Like they never saw the sun.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they never saw sunlight. There was just like this twilight all the time. And
Well, when I hear twilight, I think it's like pink. You know what I mean?
See, when I think twilight, I think the next stage where it's kind of purpley, but you still have enough light that, like, you can see more than just a little bit of definition. Does that make sense?
Right, I see that. I could see that. Almost like the stars.
Yeah,
like just the stars.
Well, and it's like twilight, right? So it's like the end of sunlight and the beginning of moonlight. It's
here it is.
My favorite thing out west.
So this is the quote, and I think it may be from this guy. We are inhabitants of the land St. Martin, who is regarded with particular veneration in the country which gave us birth. We are ignorant of how we got here. We only remember this, that on a certain day when we were feeding our father's flocks in the fields, we heard a great sound, such as we are accustomed to hear at St. Edmunds, which is where they're at now, right? Wait, what's St. Edmunds?
I feel like that might be one of the towns near Woolpit, because Woolpit's like the village, and then there's like, so maybe the church bells come from St. Edmunds that they hear in Woolpit.
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
Oh, maybe.
You know, because
Woolpit's
probably like
even
a little village. It doesn't have its own church because it's the 1100s, and churches weren't like a dime a dozen like they are today. Not being offensive.
No, I get what you're saying. When the bells are chiming, and while us listening to the sound in admiration, we became on a sudden, as if we were entranced, and found ourselves among you. And then here's the last part. The sun does not rise upon our countrymen. Our land is little cheered by its beams. We are contented with that twilight, which among you precedes the sunrise or follows the sunset. Moreover, a certain luminous country is seen, not far distant from ours, and divided from it by a very considerable river. So, like an island? You know, my first thought is Alaska, but that's pretty fucking far away. You know what I mean? Because Alaska has, like, the time where it's just...
Okay, well, I think this is the point to move into theories, right?
Right. Okay,
so...
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Well, I'm glad I read that
I want to say... Yeah, I'm like, I want to say this. Can I say it?
Go ahead.
Okay, so... To me, I go, well, if the hollow earth thing is real, right? Because, like, a lot of people go, hollow earth, and it makes a shit ton of sense to me when she says, like, we don't see the sun, and then that quote where, like, we don't get the sunlight, but we just have the twilight, right? Because you just get light filtered through something else,
whatever,
right?
Yeah, right.
And she says, like, there's the better, the well-lit land over here that you can see from where we live, and it's separated by this great body of water, right? So what if one of the exits to hollow earth is directly into the ocean? And so, like, beyond the ocean, they can see an island, which is really like one of the continent's edges or some shit.
So what I thought was, okay, is this another dimension? Where you see, like, they saw, like, into another dimension and you walked...
and that's one of the theories with this story. Like, this story has so
many theories, and I'm curious on what you guys think
as
well.
Yeah, like, if you've heard of it, like, if you grew up and, you know, from the same time period as me and saw it, like, on a TV episode or whatever, because I think that's how I learned about it, was, like, one of those random, weird, like, 80s, 90s shows we had.
Yeah.
I think that's how I learned about this. And like I told you, when I learned about it, I solely learned about it from the alien theory. Whatever show I was watching, they came at it from the alien theory, where there's a theory that, like, they're aliens. Like, that's why their skin was slightly green, and why their clothes were different, and why nobody could understand, like, the words that they said, and why eventually the boy died because he was younger and his body was weaker, and the
couldn't
girl
adapt
couldn't adapt, but the
oxygen,
girl could.
whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Or like the theory you meant. Do you want to jump into the baptism one real quick?
Okay, so. Well, I have two. Do you mind?
Yeah, go for it.
So my thought is, we had talked maybe shipwreck. They're like orphans on a shipwreck.
Right.
Well, that doesn't make sense with the fucking sunlight. But I was like, what if they're from an island, cruising on a shipwreck, or they get scurvy or some shit.
Right.
And I don't know. Because they say they see the land here and they're on this land. That just reminds me of an island.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make sense with the sunlight thing.
Right.
Unless they
literally, like, water world kind of shit. They lived in that boat their whole lives, and therefore they never got direct sunlight.
Or they live, like, deep in a condensed forest, and it's not, but I don't know.
Yeah, but I guess, like, that's the...
Because they can look out of the forest.
Right, they can look out of the forest and see
the sun.
The bright rays, That's the closest I get on that one. But I meant, like, from the alien perspective, because, like, you know, I don't know if you ever saw the Tom Cruise War of the Worlds movie. And weren't they didn't something in our water kill the aliens? Sorry, spoiler alert.
No, I'm so sorry. Okay, so the first thing I thought when you said War of the Worlds, oh shit, okay. Now I know what you're talking about. It's got Dakota Fanning in it.
Yeah.
Okay, so my first thought was Judgment Day. Or not Judgment Day, I'm sorry. The one with Will Smith.
Oh.
What? Independence Day.
Oh my god.
That was my first thought. Right, that's a good one too.
I love it.
That's a good one. I know, I haven't seen it in like 20 years.
Every 4th of July, I salute Bill Pullman.
I haven't seen it in that long. I watched it when I was a kid, and it was kind of fucking terrifying.
Oh,
let's be clear, it was scary. War of the Worlds I haven't seen in years as well, because you're right, it's like 20 years old. But I remember Dakota Fanning was in it, and it was like the aliens. So I don't remember. Do they drink?
I feel like once they get exposed to the water, they all start dying because something in our water kills them. And you had mentioned with the baptism.
Oh, absolutely. So like my theory,
like, as an alien, I was because I didn't want to take that away. So if they were aliens, that would make sense. What happens to the boy? So
my theory with the boy, assuming that they're not magical creatures and they're just people with problems, with issues.
But also, we're going with Amber's alien theory falls into the same.
Oh, it does, right?
Yeah.
Where he gets baptized and maybe he gets some water in his nose and he gets meningitis or other.
Or there's some kind of bacteria
right.
or little whatever those
swarmies,
whatever they're called. Yeah, I don't know. The right
and it kills him because like the
water amoeba that they're not used to.
Water is dirty, unfortunately.
Right,
and water's always been dirty. I mean, shit, people were like washing their ass in the fucking water.
Exactly.
You know, you
they were washing their clothes in the water. Like I learned recently, like Russian water spirits disliked women more than men because women were the ones that polluted the water by doing laundry.
Oh wow, I did not know that. Well, I just learned that. It reminds. I watch. Yeah. I don't know if anybody watches Naked and Afraid. I don't necessarily watch it, right? Well, this fucking bitch, and I'm gonna call her a bitch because she is stupid.
They're all. I watch that show a lot.
Sharded and washed her ass in their water hole, and all the fish died. And the man was so pissed. She's like, it's fine, it's fine. He's like, you can't wash your ass in the fucking water hole, lady.
It's called not shitting where you eat.
Yeah, you can't do that. She's like, it's fine, it's fine. The next day, all the fish were fucking dead because she killed them with E. coli. First of all, poor girl. But also, what a fucking idiot. I bet she didn't even think about it, right?
Yeah, but you can't do a show like that and not think about the fact that you can't wash your ass where you eat.
Right. But people back then were stupid. And I wouldn't be surprised if somebody...
people back then didn't know.
Right.
They didn't know that E. coli comes from your ass.
Right.
I mean,
so
this bitch knows.
Maybe
Sorry,
somebody
guys.
took a shit in the water and the boy got it in his nose or his mouth.
Right.
The boy... The girl, for some reason I'm thinking she's older. I don't think it specifies, but I'm pretty sure she is.
I feel like it specifies that he's younger.
Yeah.
So, ergo, she is older. I feel like it specifies
she probably plugged her nose and held her mouth and kept her eyes closed better than a younger boy.
Yeah,
you know?
Like some people, just like everybody that's alive now, are descendants of the people that survived the Black Plague because they were immune to the bubonic plague, which is why they didn't die, right? So some people are immune to things, and some people aren't, and you can be related and be immune to different things.
Oh, absolutely. So, twins can be immune to different things.
Right, so like the girl could have come in contact with whatever germ, amoeba, whatever, and it didn't decimate her body like the little boys did.
That was just
the age theory. Could have had a thing to do with it. I mean, I think like any kind of germ or whatever. I mean, I just think like it could go either way. Granted, she could have been more more aware, self-aware to do that versus him, but also like it could have just been he's more susceptible. Period.
Right, exactly. And just when I think that, I think
we're talking about like water up the nose, and my nose.
Oh,
hates that.
Well, I just think like water. Nowadays, but also especially back then, it was fucking dirty. You know what I mean? Who's to say that they're like where they did their baptism was even a flowing water? It could have been in a stagnant pool.
Right, where they washed out their dirty buckets.
Exactly, like because nobody thinks. Yeah,
they didn't have the scientific knowledge to know that.
Or maybe it was in a maybe it was in a church. I don't know what if they were Catholic. I don't know what the hell they were. It could have been in a church.
Right, I presume because it was the 1100s, I pictured outdoor. I don't know if that's what you
no, I usually pictured outdoor, but I'm just going to say for argument's sake, maybe it's something they did in the church and it was holy water. Well, how many fucking people have dipped their fingers in there and it's stagnant, you know what I mean?
For sure.
So either way, I think it could have been dirty water, but that's just my theory if they were humans. I like the theory on if they were aliens. Or maybe the spiritual aspect of the baptism has something to do with that
because
as well.
like, I had read from a folklore perspective that, this story the baptism part of this story might exist because it's an allegory about Christianity coming in and taking over the indigenous people of the area and basically like erasing who they were and making them Christians and changing, changing their cultural identity because there's also theories that this story, the kids were referred to as green because they were Aboriginal Celtic people that were, from small pockets of Celts that didn't get taken over by the Christians.
Or tribal Celts.
Yeah, exactly. So they had different appearance and they used this thing called woad, which is a plant that was used to make blue dye before indigo was found. And so, like, when you see, like, we had talked about it in the car, like, the Celtic people that paint with the blue and whatever, like, that stuff's called woad or whatever. And when I read about that this story could have to do with the indigenous Celts, like, I immediately pictured, like, that blue painting, and maybe, like, the remnants of it look kind of green.
Maybe. I could see that. I could see that. Or it just being a race thing in general, you know, people are shitty, you know what I mean? Like, and they're like,
if you're different than me, I'm just gonna pick anything to call it.
Even if you don't look green, I'm gonna say you're green.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
But that doesn't really fall into place with their food. It changes over time. You know. I like also the theory maybe they're changeling, they're little fae children. That was, I guess, is that my own theory? I don't know. I haven't read anything about it, but that kind of popped into my head.
I don't remember reading.
I think it may have been something that popped into my head.
But that's cool because, I mean, this can go all sorts of ways, not just other people's theories. Our theories are just as valid. Like, I read one thing which, you know, because I read that some people think it's just strictly folklore, and I absolutely do not believe that. I 100% believe it's a real occurrence that really happened. Two people from that time really wrote about it. They both independently wrote about it. They had very similar stories. Most of the differences were like where the kids came from or how, you know, how they
came about.
Right. And it's really just a difference in the story of like, one says like strictly they came up from under the ground, and the other one doesn't specify that. You know what I mean? Like that's like one of the biggest differences from what I read of those guys' stories. But like when two real authors from the time write about it,
it had to have happened.
Right.
I think so.
I don't think it's a folklore thing. But one thing I read was that like it could have been either folklore / allegory or the original story that led to other folklore about like children that get poisoned and left out in the woods by their guardians.
Oh shit! That's
because
really
there's a story. Yeah, there's a story about a dude back in this time period that like his brother and the brother's wife both died of like disease. They left their children to the man. The kids had like really large inheritances, and their uncle was like, "I want the inheritance." So he told his wife that he sent the kids off to boarding school in London. And really, he paid 2 thugs to murder his niece and nephew.
Jeez.
But the thugs, like...
They're like, I can't do it.
In one version of the story, the thugs are like, I can't do it. In one version of the story, one thug just kills the other one for the money and leaves the kids in the woods. But either way, in all versions of the story, the kids are left in the woods to die.
Jeez, they used to do that shit all the time. They used to do that with babies. Oh my god,
you'll love this. The end of the story, though, is that the birds from the woods, they cover the dead children with, like, plants.
What, they do die? Damn.
Yeah, they do die in all versions of the story. It's called The Babes in the Wood. It's a big tale in England, I guess. Disney even did a Babes in the Wood movie in 1932 that I've never heard of.
Oh my god.
Obviously, they don't die at the end. They go off with little elves. But in, like, all the folklore, you know, back in the day, the birds, they take leaves and stuff and they cover the children that have died.
Good God, that is like a shitty fucking story.
Like, it's beautiful that the animals do that.
I think it's just... I can't believe people did that. I mean, it reminds me of like 300. Well, is it 300? What the fuck are they? What are they? Not Trojans. Are they Romans?
300. The Spartans.
The Spartans. That's like they were horrible.
Back in famine times, people would just put their kids off or sell them for. Do we want to go down this path?
People are shitty.
They are. It's awful.
I was going to say not anymore, but that's not true either. Maybe they were abandoned.
But so the Babe in the Woods story was so popular because it was against that. It was like, don't do this. Don't be shitty and because it was so common that people had to raise other people's kids because of people dying.
Right, I had seen,
so it was like, don't be a shitty person and kill the kids. Like, don't do it. Like, that was the moral of the Babe in the Woods story. But also, like, I guess there's a story or something. I read something along the lines of, like, the green coloring was thought maybe, like, they were poisoned by whoever their guardian was, and then left to die, but they didn't die.
They didn't die.
And that's why they were found, and they were green. And maybe they were green because they were left to die, and they ate those fava beans. They just ate the beans. And the beans, like, kept them from dying
and
from
it turned them that color.
Because I also read something where somebody wrote that they ate beans, the food of the dead, and then somebody else discredited that because
what
you can't
if they
call the
were
beans
dead?
the food of the dead. But yeah, like,
what if they were
dead?
That
when I read it, I was like, but also, what if they were dying and the food of the dead is what saved them?
Jeez. So after they ate the beans and the boy died, well, I think they were already a different color, or
they were already normal color when
normal pigmented, which leads me to believe that the color has something to do with the beans.
Yeah,
you know,
I agree.
When you eat so much of a certain thing, like carrots, we were talking about, it'll turn you orange if you eat so many beans.
Yeah, if you eat too much colloidal silver, you go blue.
Right.
Apparently, you taught me today that scurvy can turn you blue or red.
Yeah.
Which again, if you have scurvy that turns you blue and you have jaundice that turns you yellow, could you be green?
Green. Right. Either way, very sickly. You know what I mean?
Very sickly. And again, that leads you to go, they were somehow abandoned in the woods, for sure. Like, either their guardian let them go.
Maybe they got lost.
Maybe they got lost. Or they were orphans because, like, during this time, or right before, like, in this same time, there was a lot of wars in the Flemish areas. There were a lot of Flemish immigrants fleeing the wars.
Where is Finland?
I don't know. That's why I keep
saying where's Finland?
Is it Normandy? I don't know.
Is it Finland? Is that what it's called? You keep saying Flemish, and it's reminding me of doing. You know what I mean?
Phlegm with an H? No, it's Flemish with an FL. But I think like Flemish people come from Normandy, but I'm not sure because I tried. That was one of the rabbit holes I went down trying to figure out what the fuck Flemish was, and like it told me about all these different dynasties. Yeah, explain it to me because I read too much. My brain went
confused. I'm so confused.
I know, but like there were Flemish immigrants that were coming around, right? And so like it was theorized that they could have been Flemish orphans, like their parents died in the wars, and they just like, wound up, and they wandered into and they fell in the wool pit, and then they got found.
So after all this, Agnes kind of like she kind of goes along with their society. Then she gets married,
sort of,
but she's still a very like outgoing, outspoken woman, open individual, very, very different for the times.
They call her wanton and impudent.
See, when I hear wanton, I think sexual, right?
But when it's wanton,
or noodles,
See, when I see wanton then followed by impudent, I think less sexual and more just like the wrong kind of behavior, like looser behavior, like talking to your elders as if they were your
casually, laughing at inappropriate jokes,
right? Or saying to your boss like, "I'm not gonna do." Who do you think you are to try and tell me to do that?
I can just see that. Is it Richard? That guy? He's like,
Richard.
Agnes. You're gonna get
Agnes.
Right.
He's like Lucy and Desi.
Right, exactly. Like, you're gonna get yourself in trouble or some shit like that. She's just like, whatever.
I don't know. I picture that she, like, when you brought up that she was referred to as wanton and kind of like, sexually promiscuous, whatever, I totally go, what if there were time travelers or aliens and they come from just like such a different society?
She needs seed. That hasn't happened yet. Refer to our alien episode.
Right? Which is funny, though, that you bring up seed, though, because one thing I read was somebody that, like, wrote a book on it in, like, the maybe 60s or something, like the 1960s. They were, like, they wrote that they were told there were still descendants of the Green Children, so obviously Agnes's descendants, because the boy died.
So she is wanton.
Right. In the area, but nobody would tell him who they were. That's what it said. Nobody would tell him who the descendants were, but he was told they existed still.
Do you think they do?
Oh my God. Believe it was a true story, so I totally believe that Agnes, like, I believe that she could have had kids with her,
but that just makes me wonder, with her being green, does that affect fertility at all?
But she turned back to normal color, and I mean, I think you're really right that it was based on their food. I mean, after eating other foods, they turned to normal color. So my thoughts on that are either they were strictly the color they were because of the diet that they had, because of the situation they were in, and that, like you pointed out, they knew that was a safe food to eat, so they just overate on that because they knew it was safe.
And they didn't want to test anything else.
Well, yeah, because they were afraid. They were fucking kids.
Well, I'd be afraid to test anything else myself, and I'm a grown-ass adult.
Right? Yeah, no, exactly. So my other thought, though, on the food thing is, maybe they did come from a place, like, if, you know, Agnes's words are real, they came from a place of twilight where everything's like green and lush, right? So in my head, if everything's like green and lush, does everything they eat kind of look greenish? And that's why they have the green appearance. And she just had a stronger countenance, so her body was able to continue living and thriving in our environment, whereas her brother, yes, he lived after they changed the diet, and his skin color did change after they changed the diet, but he eventually succumbed because he wasn't getting the proper nutrition, because he really did need to eat the broad beans.
Well, I mean, you take somebody to a different country and feed them some of the countries. I'm trying to think of an example. People eat raw certain things. Like, you can eat raw chicken. In Japan, I believe, they have, like, chicken sushi. Okay? Oh, but if we take an American and eat chicken sushi, I think that could maybe make you sick. You know what I mean? I don't think...
Oh my
God, they really do. They have beef sushi too, ground beef sushi.
Well, okay, so
that's not poisonous, right?
It is less weird to me because my dad told me within the last year or two that one of the things my grandpas made for my dad and his brothers and sister when they were little, when he had to make them dinner, was he made like poor man's tartare.
Ew, that sounds horrible.
That's what I thought. It was raw hamburger with like vegetables.
That's what just cook that shit. Why not cook it? Poor man's tartare.
I don't know, but my dad said it was really good, and I was like, y'all ate fucking raw hamburger?
Well, I'm pretty sure one of our friends at Yule said, yeah, my family will just, while I'm cooking hamburger, they'll just eat handfuls of. It's a texture thing for me. It's not poisonous. You can eat raw beef. You can. I mean, granted, it's less, it's not as good for you to eat raw ground beef because there's more likely bacteria, because I talked to my OBGYN about this. That's why I can't have medium hamburger, but I can have medium and raw steak. Okay. So it's not recommended, but it's not going to fucking kill you. I mean, worst case scenario, what? You get worms. So gross.
When my dad told me that, like, that's what my grandfather made for him and his siblings, I was like,
why not cook it? Why not cook it?
I actually wondered, like, was that laziness on my grandfather's part? Or was Grandpa's just like, no, we're going to have beef tartare, but we can't afford it, so we're going to have this shit instead. Like, I don't know. Is it steak tartare? Am I saying it wrong? I think it's steak tartare. I've never had it. I don't know.
I like tartare.
I like rare steak.
Rare steak. I like raw fish. I'll eat the shit out of some raw fish.
Yeah.
But, like,
you say raw chicken, though, and I literally
the texture is like chewy. No,
stop.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're
Point
fine. You're the one who's
I think it could probably make us sick if we ate that.
Because our gut biome wouldn't be able to handle it.
Exactly.
And because, like, I was just saying to Corey the other day that I think, like, the things that we eat as a society in general are changing us as people and our ability to...
our gut, like germs. I read a whole book on it because I did keto for a little bit. And it's the bacteria in our gut is, when we eat carbs and sugar, it just throws it all off. But yet, you know, you have the fermentation stuff, and it's so good for that gut, and you've got like kimchi, and it's fucking crazy, guys. Do some research. I don't want to get into it because
gut biome, it's a real thing.
It is a thing, and sometimes
having a healthy one means your body.
Well, that's what probiotics are. Yeah. It's the good bacteria for your gut.
But
it helps the good bacteria.
But also, not everybody knows, but like my gut biome and your gut biome have completely different.
Oh, they're not the same.
You know? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And part of it has to do with your genetics.
Right.
Which is part of why I'm excited to get my DNA back, because, like, I legit want to feed my body the way that it was intended to be fed. Does that make sense?
I'm excited. I'm going to scream if you have, like, 2% Russian and, like, 67% like.
Did I get switched at birth?
I don't know. No, I'm sure that won't happen. No, but if that did happen,
I realized I could have a lot more Jewish in my heritage than I realized.
Oh my God!
You thought my dad looked that way, right? And his dad, he looks a lot like his dad. And I used to lie to people and say that his dad was Jewish.
So I'm like, what?
Without realizing that it was the other side of the family that was Jewish, I just assumed it was him.
What is Jewish food then? Is that falafel or is that...
No, Jewish like matzah. I like matzah. Matzah is Jewish. Just matzah.
I think falafel is just Middle Eastern.
Yes,
okay.
I believe so. Jewish is like matzah. It's the unleavened bread that they eat at Passover.
It's not gyro.
No.
What is that? Greek?
I believe that's Greek.
But they're all like...
I love me a good hero with
oh my fucking God. I love me some with falafel. Ooh, that sauce. Okay.
But
and that green child could not handle it probably.
Right, yeah, exactly, right? Their diet not the same.
Yeah.
Which just made like
I bet it would help your gut health though. Like anyone, if you started looking into the food.
Right, exactly.
Because you said you were making Kiev. Is that how it's pronounced? Kiev.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. I don't know. That's a lot of butter. That's a lot of butter.
I like a lot of butter.
I like butter too, but I think it's because I'm pregnant that I'm saying this. Because I'm like...
Well, because when I looked at a picture of a cooked of what it was, there's so much herb in the butter that
it's
you
like
use.
A garlicky.
It's predominantly herb with butter holding it together for the purposes of putting it in the chicken. So it's imagine taking a whole cup of herbs,
right,
and then mixing that with a quarter cup of butter, right? When it's all cold, it's going to look like it's a crap ton of butter, but really it's a crap ton of herbs.
Well, I imagine the chicken is moist as fuck because you're cooking it with butter inside it. But you saw that cake I sent you. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, that looked good. It's supposed to taste like caramelized honey, but it's also supposed to take it's supposed to be one of the longest dessert recipes to make. Or it's known for being extremely
I need to look at the recipe again. I wonder if that's the one that my grandfather told me the recipe for before he died.
I only know about the Kiev, is that
Kiev?
Kiev, because I was watching a TV show, and she was talking about it, and the girl was Russian. I was like, is that Russian? I looked it up. It looks very good, but I think I like cordon bleu better. I think I would, and I think that's French.
See, yeah, and I'm not as big on cheese, so Kiev.
I love cheese. I'm so bad.
And I like vegetables more, so beyond Kiev, my next go-to is going to be the broccoli and cheese.
Oh my God, tell me if it's good because I love the frozen ones. They're kind of expensive. I haven't had it since years.
Well, and I'm going to do the baked version. I'm not going to.
You're not going to pan it up and it just.
Well, I'm gonna oven fry it.
Are you gonna bread it with panko? Tell me how it is because
for sure.
I loved me some stuffed chicken. I'm just saying that right now. When we did keto, what I would do is unstuffed chicken, which is like a chicken breast, and then I put spinach artichoke dip all on that bitch. Ooh. Cheese on top, get that mozzarella, stick that shit in the oh my God.
I cooked when I was a stay-at-home mom.
Back when I had the time, it was great. I miss cooking. Then I got very sick with this pregnancy and could only eat pizza and chili.
Weirdo.
I know.
Okay. One of my kids made me like raw steak pretty much.
I love raw
steak. Tartare raw, but slap it on the grill, get a couple marks, and put it on the plate while it's still bleeding. I like that kind of stuff. Put the blood on my potatoes. Sorry, guys.
Hell yeah, that's what the fuck. That's how it is.
You fuck it up.
That's how it is.
It is. Fuck me up some fucking stuff.
So we're talking about food because of the boy. It all connects.
It came back. Yeah, we can come back.
How do you eat your steak?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Do you like chicken Kiev? Have you ever had chicken Kiev? Have you cooked chicken Kiev, and do you have any pointers prior to Valentine's Day?
Do you like raw beef?
Oh shit! Will this air before Valentine's Day?
No, nope. After. Oh no! So
that's maybe okay. Don't give me pointers then. I might cry. I might have fucked some up. It's cool.
Please don't fuck it up because I want to know if it's good. I'm serious.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've made chicken Kiev, but I love it.
So this was a fun topic. I really enjoyed this. I'm excited for next the next topic, which is about the fairies. So definitely check out our next episode. We're going to be discussing fairies and more children in a non-creepy witchy way.
Yes, this is just occult shit.
Right, exactly.
And they're not black-eyed children, so don't be scared yet.
Yes.
We will get there, though, when Maddie's ready.
Yes, we will get there. So if you haven't already...
the research that I mind about the black-eyed children.
I research while my husband's at work and I'm laying in bed and my baby's sleeping. It's probably like 9 to 10 o'clock at night. When I was doing the research on the alien one, I was like Bro, I still think I may have seen a fucking alien or two. Like, I'm being serious. I swear to God. I remember now.
Well, I will say, like, there's a lot of things that I have seen that people may or may not believe. I haven't seen an alien yet. Well, I think I've seen a UFO in the sky, but because I have to say I don't know.
Okay.
But that's what I want to see, an alien.
We rented this house. I'm sorry.
Come to me.
Right.
Don't.
Well, I'm sorry to get on this topic. I have to ask your opinion. We lived in this house. I was in the country. We were renting it, obviously, and behind us was a field. I remember an alien spaceship landing in that fucking field. And I remember the thing coming down and light. But I don't know if it was a dream or not. Like, I'm thinking it may have been a dream. But what if it wasn't? I'm thinking it may have been a dream.
But what if it wasn't? They just make you think it's a dream.
I swear to God, I remember this.
Like I said, mind control. It's a full part of the experience.
You can laugh because it sounds so ridiculous, but I swear to God, I remember this. Part of me is like, I think it may have been a dream, but Bryson said I was absolutely fucking ridiculous and needed to stop doing research. I'm like, this happened. No, it did. I swear to God.
Well, like, I won't lie. That is exactly where I was at with timeline changing when we did our Glitch in the Matrix episode. Like, I was like, all of these fucking things have happened to me. I've had every single one of these Glitch in the Matrix experiences, and it's freaking me out. And Corey was like, dude, no,
chill.
You haven't. I have. See, it agrees.
I mean, I just have to say, I love doing the research on I really do, which is crazy because it's not really homework, but it's like learning. You know what I mean?
Well, and it's like I go more in depth on things that I already know a lot about, and then I get to learn so much more about things that I only have surface knowledge of.
Well, and
both of these things are so pleasurable for me.
I'm a big fan of the conspiracy theory ones. We need to do another one.
Oh,
well, I guess we haven't done one. We've talked about the aliens, and then what was the other thing?
Glitch in the Matrix.
Glitch in the Matrix. Yeah, I would love to do another one of those because those are so much fun.
Those are fun. But like at the same time,
they freak me out. I can't imagine doing it stoned. I feel like I'd be like, I can't breathe. I really feel like I'd lose my shit.
Just breathe, Maddie. It's okay. I remember the Glitch in the Matrix one that legit happened, and I was like, it's okay, Maddie. Your son is there. He exists.
What if he doesn't? You know? Like I get, my anxiety acts up, but like in a pleasurable way. I don't know if that makes sense, but in a way that I may or may not have been visited by aliens.
It opens your mind to things that you then reflect upon again in a different mindset.
Right, exactly.
And you see different things when
and did you do that with these green children as seeing it as an adult? Oh,
yeah, definitely. Well, I didn't know about the Hollow Earth theory, which made complete sense to me. Like, the aliens, that's how I learned about it. But the Hollow Earth theory, like, million% makes sense. And that is totally what I believe as an adult. I totally believe they lived in some subterranean world, which now that would then mean that I totally believe in Hollow Earth theory, which I'm not sure about.
Oh my God, can we do an episode? Can we do next week's episode, like next filming, please?
Hollow Earth?
Okay, first of all, Journey to the Center of the Earth. That's real. Like, I'm just saying, like, yeah, that's a thing. Like,
I love that.
But what if the lava in the center of the Earth is their sun?
That's an interesting theory because is it flat earthers?
Oh God, we gotta do one on that one too.
I was learning about flat Earth theory because it's funny. Sorry if you're a flat earther.
Oh my
I don't
God,
mean
I'm
to
so
offend
sorry.
you, but I'm sorry.
It's not flat. You know what I mean?
It's not flat, so I'm sorry that you're a flat earther. But anyway, I was looking more into
my
flat
husband
earth
goes to work with a flat earther.
Oh God. I lost a friend because I thought they were kidding. That's how I learned about flat earth theory, was through this person who was a flat earther, and I thought it was a complete and utter joke. And they were like, who are you to just assume you know everything? And I was like,
oh, I'm sorry.
I mean, I don't assume I know everything, but the earth is fucking round.
What's his name is fucking he's literally holding it on his shoulders. I don't think he could I don't think he could do that if it was a fucking flat. But do I sound as crazy as him? Can you imagine that fucking argument, dude? Oh, I guess he could if he was holding it like a fucking tray, Maddie. Use your brain.
That is actually exactly what I pictured when you said, could he still be doing? I'm like, so he's like this, and the water's running off around him.
Oh, damn. Now I'm like, oh my God.
It's round. He still got it like this. That's why it's such a pain in the ass. If it was flat, he could just sit it down and it wouldn't roll away.
Oh my God.
It would just sit. And the water would. But
that is a beautiful picture, though. Imagining it coming, you know. Or what about the turtle? Isn't there a turtle holding the earth? What is that?
That's. I think the theory is that we exist on the turtle's back and it's flying through the universe. But we should totally do an episode on that.
Yeah, because that's addressed in the movie It. Yeah. No, that's a real. That's a real thing.
Yeah,
but he went with that.
Yeah, no, I know. It's in the book. Yeah, totally.
But they didn't make it in the movie because it was so complex and it was so.
Yeah, but
you know.
but also like when you read the book, it makes a lot of the other things make sense. But in the movie, those things they don't ever make sense because it's associated with the turtle theory.
Right.
But yeah, I'm not as familiar with the turtle theory, but I'm pretty sure it's that we're on its back flying through the universe.
It got me fucked up because it's like it's not even. You think, oh, it's a demon. It's a demon. It's not a fucking demon. It's an alien.
Yeah, I know.
God,
love it,
dude. That's a very complex story. That is one that I will say Stephen King is a very, very talented author to make all that shit make sense in the end. You know what I mean? That takes a lot of talent.
Look, I just love that book. It still scared me as a 20-something-year-old. Like
I haven't read the book. I haven't.
Oh, the book is terrifying.
But I'm not scared of it because I'm not scared of clowns.
No, but the book is terrifying. Like to me, to me, the book is terrifying. I read it as a 14-year-old who lived in a basement room. Okay, so already underground with the pipes.
Gosh.
And then I've read it again a couple times as an adult. It still scares me just as much. Does it only scare me just as much because it scared me as a child? I don't think so, because the book also scares Corey. The movie doesn't scare us at all. We fucking love the movie, the original one, miniseries from the 90s. Should I read
the book then?
It'll scare the fuck out of you. I think.
Will it really? Well, you know,
it's pretty. The book itself is pretty terrifying in the descriptions of the things that happen to the children and things like that.
I read there's like something else they took out of the book or out of the movie as well, because it was, you know, exactly what I'm saying.
Know
yeah,
exactly.
Does that really happen?
Yes.
Oh my God, fucking hell.
That's how they become adults and how it can't kill them. Yeah, that's, yeah.
I have Stephen King's Green Mile. I think I would read that, but that's not that's not a horror movie. That's more of a endearing paranormal. Well, I would call it paranormal. I would. Because he's like, it's implied that he's like an angel, right?
No, I mean, totally. It's got paranormal stuff, but like you say, endearing. And I go, it's pretty rough to read, too. Like, there's some bad shit that happens.
It's sad, but it's not scary. You know what I mean?
No, I'm not saying it's scary. I'm saying it's rough to read because of some of the subject matter, like what happens to the little girls, and then the things that the other prisoners do that get them in prison. He covers all of that in the books. You don't see that in the movie.
That guy died, and that's so upsetting. He was such a good actor, dude. The guy that played the big guy.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
So sad.
John Coffey.
He had such a nice voice.
Spelled like the drink or not spelled like the drink?
He had a nice voice.
He did. I didn't know he died.
Yeah, he died recently.
Okay.
Recently, I think within the past like 5 years, maybe. Very upsetting. He was a big man.
Yeah, he was.
Big man.
Yeah.
But anyway, point is.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess we'll wrap up.
For real. Sorry.
Join us next time for the Cottingley Fairies, and then next week. Apparently, we're going to jump into some Hollow Earth theory.
Oh, I'm so excited on this one. But I'm also scared.
And then you'll probably hear me mention the Green Children again if we're going
Right. Well, I'm pretty sure that they... A Hollow Earth theory is a reptilian theory as well.
Is it?
Yeah. Oh, didn't you say like the Hollow Earth theory, like fucking Bigfoot?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there is a Hollow Earth theory with Bigfoot. Oh my God, maybe it'll be like. Maybe next week will just be Hollow Earth Theory, two episodes. 2 episodes?
I could totally see that.
We'll see. I don't know. You
That'll
guys
be our first part 1 and part 2.
Oh my God, it would.
Because there's so much. Because the reptilians, they're like an alien race that lives under the ground, and they like, oh my God.
Yeah.
The underground where I live. I think I told you about how somebody thought they saw a reptilian in the underground. We need to like make some moolah with this, guys. Join our Patreon so that we can go underground.
Oh my God.
Like, wait.
How far? I'm
Have you been to the underground? It goes deep. It goes deep in the bowels.
Are
you scared?
I am.
I've been there.
I want a Viking funeral.
I've been there a couple times. My dad worked there, and it feels good. It's the when I say it feels good, I mean weather.
Yeah, it's
like
nice and
temperature.
Cool. Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I mean, I've been
and it's warm in the wintertime. Like, it's not warm, but it's the same temperature all year round. Bitch, that shit goes on for miles. What were they doing down there? Is it involved with the Hollow Earth theory? It's
see, this is where
dark.
I start to hyperventilate.
Oh, I'm sorry, and it's dark, and it's fucking dark. Like, you just see this tunnel, and it's all man-made. They all went, like, it's cool. It's really cool.
This is where Amber gets.
Can you do the Hollow Earth theory, or you're like?
I can totally do the theory. I can't walk into underground and be okay. I've gone to a cave with Corey like one time in our 20 years of marriage. He loves caves.
I love them.
We went deep, and I was just like,
I can't
oh my God.
Are you scared it's going to collapse?
Yes, that is exactly it. That's why I can't be buried. I watched Buried Alive on Lifetime.
Me too! Oh my God, they have Buried Alive 1 and Buried Alive 2. It happens twice.
He's crazy ass. Yes. Love those movies.
Oh my God, and in the end, doesn't he make like their whole house like a fucking like coffin, like...
You know, I probably have blocked this out.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Right. It's a good movie. Check it out.
It's great, but it scares the shit out of me.
Oh, it's scary. Because he wakes up and he's like, yeah.
I know, I can't do it. Like, I haven't seen that Ryan Reynolds movie where he's buried. I can't do it. Can't do it.
Is there a movie where he's buried?
Yeah.
You probably couldn't watch that. There's a scary version of... me and Bryson watched it for the first time. It's Ebenezer Scrooge, A Christmas Carol. And it shows what happens to Jacob Marley. And he's in purgatory. Well, purgatory is just being in your fucking coffin. Awake. The whole time. And he's like, help, help, help. And finally...
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That is horrible.
Oh, yeah.
That poor man.
Well, I don't know.
You can't have a heart attack and die and get out of it because you're dead. In purgatory. You're already dead. You just gotta stick with it. Oh my God.
And so the only way to get out of it is he has to say like, I repent, and then they drag him to hell. It's a good fucking movie. It's on Hulu. Please check it out. It's got an amazing cast.
I will not.
It was produced by Tom Hardy. Actually,
that's cool. Still scared.
No, you probably wouldn't like it. And I mean, like some guy like pisses on his grave because it's Jacob Marley. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
And the pee like seeps through, and like it's all part of his chains, his chains that he forged in life.
Oh my God.
Marley and Marley. But I love that story. It's one of my favorite horror or scary stories, Christmas stories.
Well, I will say with Scrooged, you know, I can get through the scene where he's in the coffin and he's about to be cremated, but that is why I can't be cremated either. It scares the shit out of me.
No, what if you feel it? What if you're alive?
Right, yeah, so I can't be cremated, I can't be buried, so Viking funeral. If you want to hear more of that discussion, join our Patreon.
Right,
it's on there.
It is. Also, you'll find some really funny ass content that happened today.
Yeah. So
anyway,
our Patreon.
Don't forget to
shout out.
Okay. Dallin, thank you
for Melissa, thank you for your continued support.
Yes, thank you so much. And if anybody else wants a shout out on this podcast, definitely check out our Patreon. Link will be in the bio. If you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. We're almost to 40 fucking subscribers.
Yeah.
We're 2 away. Maybe that's not a lot to a bunch of people, but we're an indie podcast, so that's a lot.
And if you're listening on Spotify for the first time, thank you. because
right?
we are 14 people away from having 50 unique listeners.
Right, that's fucking awesome.
So huge
that is awesome.
Us. Like, so
yes,
we appreciate you listening.
We put a lot of work into this shit too.
We do.
Like, for real.
And we're gonna put more work into it because we'll find like some imagery of the green children for our Instagram for you to check out.
Exactly.
At Witches Talking Tarot.
Yes.
And if you have any thoughts on the green children or how you like your steak or anything else that you feel like
what's your favorite food?
Yeah, what's your favorite food? Like, what could
not
they
mushrooms.
take away from you?
And do you read Stephen King? We got off on a lot of topics.
Yeah, we did. So, like, let us know your thoughts on Twitter.
Yes.
At Classiest Witches. I was like, what is that platform called?
Or leave a comment in the YouTube.
Yeah, so leave a comment in the YouTube.
All right. See you next time.
Thanks for coming to sit with us for a spell.
Bye.